Good evening, I'm Alan Devlin. We're going to begin with breaking news here at 8:30. 6 people have died in a helicopter crash in New York's Hudson River. Officials say it was a family of 5 visiting from Spain along with their pilot. And we have just confirmed that the children who died, 3 of them, ages 4, 5, and 11. Very young children involved here. All of their bodies have been recovered from the water at this hour, and crews have begun removing the chopper from the river. We showed you live images of that a short while ago. Bradley Blackburn reports from the scene. Bradley, what's the latest out there as, again, we now know the ages of 3 of the children victims in this, 4, 5, and 11?
Just tragic, Alan. And with the bodies recovered from the scene here, the focus now turns to recovering the aircraft itself and figuring out what happened. From our vantage point right here, you can see the flashing lights behind me, the wide area that they've cordoned off to look for every piece of debris, every item that may have separated from that chopper and gone into different sections of the river. That's going to be crucial for investigators from the NTSB and the FAA, who tonight have already started their search for answers.
The helicopter in the water, Hudson River, on the Jersey side.
Rescue boats swarmed to the spot where the helicopter went into the murky waters of the Hudson River Thursday afternoon.
I heard a big boom, thinking that it was like construction next door, but it definitely sounded like way louder.
City officials say it was a tour helicopter carrying a family from Spain. Witnesses reported seeing the aircraft break apart in midair before crashing into the water. Mayor Eric Adams confirmed of the 6 victims, 3 were children.
At this time, all 6 victims have been removed from the water. And sadly, all 6 victims have been pronounced deceased.
Video at the scene shows the aircraft in the water upside down and debris dropping into the river. The temperature in the Hudson is 47 degrees. Dive teams went into the water to search for survivors, and on the surface, rescue boats were battered by the choppy waves and windy conditions here.
Terrible, gut-wrenching. I heard that there were multiple lives on there, and just to think, like, so scary, so sad.
The accident happened near a maintenance pier for the Holland Tunnel, which connects New York to New Jersey. It's likely to fuel the ongoing controversy over recreational helicopters operating in busy urban environments. And of course, these waters are familiar to federal investigators. This is the same spot where Captain Sully Sullenberger landed his U.S. Airways jet years ago. As we all remember, all the passengers on board that flight surviving in the Miracle on the Hudson. But this crash today adds to a much longer list of tragic accidents that have happened over New York City, in the air above New York City. Many helicopter crashes, Alan, and we know this is renewing debate and questions about the safety and the risk that's involved with tourist flights.
All right, Bradley Blackburn reporting right there live from the scene. Bradley, thank you. We're now joined by Chopper 2's Dan Rice, who's going to be, I believe, yep, there he is. Dan, good evening. Thank you for being here with us. We've shown a couple of videos here this evening. We showed the video of the helicopter falling into the water, but there's also a second video that shows pieces of the chopper coming off in midair, including that rotor before it crashed into the Hudson. What did you notice as a chopper pilot yourself from that video, and how could that even happen in the first place?
I have to be honest, Alan, how that happened, I couldn't even begin to speculate. The part that you're talking about is the main rotor blade. That's that big piece you see going on top of the helicopter over here. And there's a center piece we call the hub. That was all connected. So when you watch that video where that helicopter is coming down, or the main rotor, that's somehow detached from the rest of the aircraft. Once that leaves the aircraft, and then this piece in the back, the tail boom, gets separated somehow, there's nothing a pilot can do with the aircraft. It is totally rendered unflyable. It's just you're along for the ride, sadly. You know, we have 2 pilots on the aircraft, one that flies with Jim in the morning, one that flies with me at night. And these guys do a maintenance pre-flight every day before their shift in the morning and night. They check all the components. The reason you have that whole area that's cordoned off in the Hudson River right now, part of that is the investigators need to get every single piece they can from that helicopter before they can piece it all back together to see why that big piece on top of the helicopter separated. It's just hard to tell until the NTSB does their investigation as to what led to that. It's a single aircraft flying along a normal route that helicopters doing tours normally fly on, and out of nowhere, it comes apart. Until the NTSB can do their investigation, it's going to be a little while before we know why that major component came off the aircraft.
And Dan, we know you fly all the time. You're not a pilot, but a reporter who, of course, rides along in that helicopter. You can only imagine better than what we can, probably, of what the people in the chopper were going through in their final moments. Any idea?
Scared, panicked, freaked out. When I saw the video, the first video I saw, where you see this main fuselage portion of the aircraft upside down, and that piece is missing off the aircraft, it put a pit in my stomach I've never felt before. I cannot imagine that happening, because I started in this chopper back in 1997. I've been doing this since the mid-90s. I've gone to water egress training, where we've been prepared for an event where you might end up in a river, in a body of water. And there are many things you can do. But the one thing I do know is, without the spinning parts of the helicopter attached, there's no way to control it. And those people, including the pilot, had to be beyond scared. And like I said, it just put a horrible feeling in my stomach when I saw that.
I think it disturbed everybody who's seen that video so far here. Dan, we don't know the cause of the crash at this point, of course. We've been thinking about it all day long. We're going to let the investigators figure that out for us. But a question I've had since this evening, our chopper, you, didn't even fly this afternoon because of the weather. Are there different rules for different helicopter companies, or is it tour choppers have different, things to follow than news choppers?
So the manufacturer of our aircraft, this is a Bell 206L4, Long Ranger 4. This is the aircraft that was involved in the crash this afternoon. So this has very strict limitations by the helicopter company that manufactures it. And then beyond that, the operator of the helicopter can set their own restrictions. The company that operates our helicopter, they have a very strict guideline onto when we can fly and when we cannot. Now, Vanessa was talking about the winds before. Teterboro Airport, if I remember correctly, had a wind gust of 12 knots, gusting up to, I think the peak wind was 29 knots. That window, that space of gusting there, that put us into a window that our company says, we're going to hold off. Don't take off just yet. Let's see what happens with the wind and how it trends. So that's why we didn't fly this afternoon, because the gust spread was just a bit more than what the company is comfortable flying the helicopter in.
And Dan, last question I have for you here. You've got way more experience than probably 99% of people watching this when it comes to helicopters. I've been up in those tour helicopters over New York City before. You, of course, have been in helicopters for years and years and years. A lot of people are thinking this right now. Is there any reason anybody should be concerned, scared, or worried about getting into a helicopter in any capacity moving forward?
Absolutely not. When we're able to go back out, when the wind and the weather gets better, I'll get back in the helicopter and I'll go do my job. If you look at this incident, it's an isolated incident. It's not like you're looking at multiple aircraft that came too close to each other. It's not an airspace problem. It's a catastrophic mechanical or some sort of structural failure of the aircraft. There's nothing that could have changed, that would have changed what happened today, unfortunately. That's what the investigation will tell us. It's between the air traffic controllers and the radio frequencies that the other pilots use. You rarely see this type of incident happen. Unfortunately, when it does happen, it's horrible. But there's so few and far between that I don't see it being a problem.
All right, Dan. A lot of people are probably happy to hear that. Thank you for that, Dan. We'll check back in with you later on.
Okay.
Stay with CBS News New York for the very latest on the helicopter crash. You can also get updates anytime on our website, cbsnewyork.com.